What's up, Exiles? It's Gemini, and Chris has finally given us the 1.3.0 patch notes for Bloodlines and the upcoming Challenge League. Let's go ahead and check those out. I'm only going to read the pertinent stuff, the ones that we haven't gone over already. So if you want to hear my thoughts and my ramblings, feel free to check out the other previous videos. So, something to note, we're all going to get the skill reset, and that option is going to be available to every one of your characters. 26 total uniques are added in this update. There are 3 new unique items that can only drop from the Torment Challenge League, and 3 that can only drop in the Bloodlines Challenge League. Leo Redmayne, we've read all about his goodies. Some notables from this section is that you can get 80 reputation and favor with Leo per PvP kill. You can invite him to your hideout with no penalty. Like, he's an in addition free. All you got to do is invite him. He's got the Gladiators workbench with a lot of PvP mods. I guess we'll get to see those when we get to see him. And the level 8 crafting mod is cannot roll mods with required level 28 or required level above 28. So this means if you find like a 6-socket full scale armor in a level 75 map, that's probably going to be anywhere from 75 to 77 item level. And chances are, if you transmute it and augment it, it's going to have a mod that makes it go up to like the 40s or something or higher. So this will prevent you from exceeding that item prefix or suffix threshold of level 28, and it'll keep it low. And then at the very end, when you're done crafting it, you can remove that mod and add your last either Elrion mod or whatever Haku mod on it. Alright, we know about the tournaments that we saw in the PvP tournament manifesto. Okay, so the major content features, we see 26 new unique items, 11 from which are designed by supporters. Very cool. We've gone over the skills in a previous video, and something that's new that we haven't seen is the 2 new microtransaction skins, Viper Flicker Strike Effect. So let's take a look at this, see what it looks like. So it kind of just looks like a, oh, not Viper, Vapor, sorry. Just like a mist instead of like a smoke cloud. Pretty cool. I'm a huge fan of Flicker Strike, so I'll definitely be purchasing one of those when they go on sale. And then we have the Serpent Egg Wand skin. So we were all wanting that wand love now, and we still need the stave love. We don't have any skin for staves, but we have an egg wrapped with like a snake skin. I'm not too crazy about it. It's better than nothing, but probably snag that when that goes on sale too. Alright, so minor content features. Added notification settings that enable or disable various toast notifications, such as friends coming online or events starting. The event starting was formerly posted in your regular chat, like orange text, like saying race starting in 10 minutes or something like that. And then the friends coming online was right above the mana globe. Honestly, I'd rather just that notifications remain but go under the mini map instead of over the globe, because more often than not you're trying to fidget stuff in your inventory. That's where your stash is, and that's also where you check for like item level and things like that. So it can get quite annoying. I don't want to not be able to see it. I would rather just it be positioned elsewhere. The Ghost Flame Raging Summon Spirit alternate effects now also has a surge effect that matches that of the skill. Minor performance improvements related to the user interface, that's always good. Guildmates cannot spectate in PvP. This is a nice change because you don't have to, your buddy list is already full as it is, and you can only get someone to spectate your match if you're in the party And if you're in the party and you queue up for a 1v1, then he actually shows up inside the arena. So that's bad. Or you have him on your friends list. So pretty nice change. Should increase the hype and awareness. Spectator mode has several improvements, such as allowing you to see the life values for combatants. I'm guessing this is for better shoutcasting and possible future events that they have planned. More lore to discover has been added in Act 2. That I don't really care for, but I'm sure a lot of you guys really like. Introduce 3D art for the following unique items: Gold Rim, alternate art Fen Coil, Cherubims of Maleficence, which is the Justicar looking paladin armor that was made recently, alternate art Bringer of Rain, and Asphyxia's Wrath. Continue to incrementally improve the sound, art, effects, and environments. Alright, can't wait to see those changes. So the Rampage and Beyond Challenge Leagues, those all got tied into Zana like they always do. At a cost, it got heavily reduced. I think the current price is 3 exalts, which is kind of outrageous considering the uniques that drop out of there are not that great, with the exception of the new age Malagaros with Mana Leech. That giving you the Smoke Cloud plus the stun being the first tier Rampage bonus is really nice. Other than that, I'm not too crazy about them. Alright, now we're going into the general balance. Block recovery now correctly additive with stun recovery. So before, I guess it was overlapping. Now it's additive. If you have stun recovery, it'll also apply to your block recovery. Good change. All items that have at the mod included phrase gems in this item now instead say socketed gems. So it's just a terminology change. Monster balance. Fire and Fury uses additional skills in cruel and merciless difficulties. The duration of silence has been reduced to 3 seconds. This is a big change. Also very nice to have in the Academy map. But the silence lasted way too long, and it was really detrimental because if you didn't have that warding flask, you were just running around, you know, for I don't know, like 10 seconds just doing nothing other than running in circles, avoiding damage. Animated weapons and guardians created by monsters now have a variable damage range. I'm not sure which bosses or monsters have animated weapons. The only one I can really recall is the Invader boss that was like blue and purple, like huge statue looking thing that animated weapons. Other than that, I don't remember anything else being a threat. Master and mission balance. So overall, they felt like the grind was too long, and they have increased the rewards of higher level missions and have moved some of the features to lower master levels. So some of those changes include masters now grant reputations for higher level missions. Awesome. The master ability to remove a crafted mod is now 7 rather than 8. Awesome. Daily missions at master level 6 now take place in a merciless difficulty. So there's a big time gap between, you know, getting from 7 and 8. Those levels are going to be a bit more streamlining into like a straight line progression. Before, it was just way too easy at other lower levels. Zana's earlier daily missions are now at lower levels. Zana's map device league mods now have their levels and costs adjusted. Hybrid weapon mods have been removed from Vegan and Taurus crafting options. This is huge because now the Elrion mod has received a huge nerf. You have like 20 hours to get your last minute crafting in, finish those weapons up, get that hybrid mod. I always thought it was kind of strange that there was hybrid physical but never hybrid spell, like a spell mana mod. It was a bit unfair. But this is all going to become legacy now. I highly recommend that you go back and look at your shop to see if there's anything that's worth crafting hybrid on. Just slap it on there for now and worry about it later. The global energy shield, evasion, and armor crafted mods at Elrion's Blessed Font are now prefixes. This was like the rings that we saw percent ES on. That was so OP, but they were, for some reason, were a suffix, and it made no sense why percent ES. Anything ES related has always been a prefix, whether it be on your chest piece, your Vol Regalia, or energy shield, flat energy shield. Anything that dealt with energy shield was percent or prefix based. So I don't know why this change took so long when it made no sense. I don't know if it was a huge oversight, but they let it go for a really long time. A lot of mirror-worthy rings and jewelry have that percent. Now, what does this mean for the game? Mainly, I think that people would rather go with cast speed and, you know, or a 50 stat, or a pure resist of tier 1 chaos, or fire, lightning, you know, anything. 50 of one stat, it's pretty huge. Prefixes are kind of weak for casters, as they have options of like mana, HP, energy shield, and ES. But now we have better options, and now that that mod is specifically a prefix. Okay, moving along, we've had auras and aura-like effects can now affect totems. Cool, so all your tanky defensive auras can now apply to your totems for summoned. Summoners, summon totems still use their summoner skills. In order for offensive auras to have an effect, it must affect the summoner, not the totem. The mana cost of Elemental Hit, Glacial Hammer, Infernal Blow, and Lightning Strike have been reduced. These have generally been lowered by 1 mana point, with Glacial Hammer reduced to the same as Lightning Strike. Now, this is something that I really noticed with Glacial Hammer, because I actually tried to use this in, physical resistant maps before, and I've tried them in Phys Reflect maps on Wukong Scion, but every now and then I would run out of mana from the leeching, and that was mainly because the cost was so high. But now that it's toned down a bit, I honestly expected Elemental Hit to go down a bit more. 1 point, it gets more and more significant when you have like a 6-link, more and more links because of the multipliers. I still think it could be a little bit more, especially on Elemental Hit. Infernal Blow and Glacial Hammer, I think that might put them in a good spot. Alright, the next really big change, Arctic Armor has had its physical and fire damage taken when hit reduced at high levels. By the gem level 20, they are reduced from 189 to 161. So this has been a staple defense that I've been tying to a lot on all my Eldritch Battery builds, and even sometimes a CI build. Can't take it that high because of the mana regen reasons, but in Eldritch Battery, this is one of my favorite defenses, and now it gets nerfed pretty hard because you're going to use stuff like the former athleticism. I forgot what they call it now. It's called, I forgot. It's on the left hand side of the tree next to Templar. And then we have Inner Force. So it's going to take probably Inner Force is bringing back to where it is, or was what it once was. Cyclone now attacks slightly slower and has an equivalent increase to damage. So now you're not going to be swinging as fast, so nerfing life gain on hit, but they're going to be improving the life leech per hit. It deals damage immediately when it's used, in addition to periodic damage. So what this means, I don't know. Does the gem now have a punctured type mechanic with a chance to bleed on hit? This would be nice if they have it with bloodletting, and if you want to go like two-handed Reaver Sword Cyclone and utilize bloodletting or the sword nodes on the bottom left side of the tree, that could be kind of cool. Cyclone no longer targets enemies, only locations. So I'm guessing this is going to help the desync problem with Cyclone. Probably make it much more fun skill to use. Dual Strike's damage penalty has been increased from 10% to 15%. So this is a dual strike nerf. It's been very, very popular. I think people were hitting like hundreds of thousands of damage, dual wield daggers, dual strike, and just annihilating bosses and stuff like that. So I definitely think that was warranted. Herald of Ice, Herald of Thunder have been changed from spell to cast. This is more like of understanding and for clarity reasons. Puncture now bleeds for 10% of hit damage at all levels. It also gains more increased physical damage per level. So if we go and take a look at Puncture, the gem is now going to be a flat 10% bleed. So where it says like 23.8 or 25.2, this is going to be 10. However, the increased physical damage is going to be adjusted higher. How much higher? I don't know. I have no idea. But I'm keen on testing it out. Raging Spears have had their damage reduced at higher levels. This was Flavor of the Month. Flavor of the League, actually, is SRS. They were doing really, really good damage. It was relatively cheap, easily accessible, but super, super powerful. And part of it was his functionality. The ability to queue up a lot of Raging Spirits and then engage into a fight where that one initial pump was like enough to kill the boss. That was a bit overpowered. People have been using it with like Val Haste and pumping out as many spirit heads on it, like at Siri, and then just engaging and then annihilating. So I definitely think this was warranted. In PvP, summon Raging Spirits is actually absolutely ridiculous. 2 Raging Spirits is enough to kill you really, really, really fast. Shield Charge now works with no primary weapon equipped. So this is the addition that they were trying to say that Face Breakers was getting. Another tool. You don't need a primary weapon. I guess that was basically to signify that, hey, Face Breaker can get some love here. Still probably won't be using Shield Charge, but whatever. Doubles created by a Val Double Strike will now correctly copy any microtransaction effect that add to an item's visual effects, not only to those that replace the item's skin. Okay, so this one doesn't really matter. That's just a visual thing for art. I'm not sure why it's on skill balance. Val Haste has had its attack speed and cast speed reduced by a flat 5% at all levels. Val Haste is it's like the clear-cut choice in most cases for almost all builds when you're choosing between Val Haste or Val Grace. So now it's brought down, making more interesting choices. Support Gem Balance. The block chance reduction support gem now does not increase the mana cost of supported skills. In addition, to reducing block, it now reduces dodge. This is a big, big change for PvP. No more mana multiplier. It's free, and well, it only consumes a green slot, but it also reduces the dodge. So people that go evasive, acrobatics with a series step can get like so much dodge for so little points, and it's very, very effective. But that block and dodge chance reduction support gem is going to help it a lot. Cast on crit cooldown has been increased from 0.01 seconds to 0.05 seconds. This is a nerf. They don't want you to streamline ice spears, fireballs as quickly, you know, especially with like spectral throw or barrage or anything like that. Cast on crit was already too powerful in my opinion. I've been doing cast on crit for a while now, and I think it was definitely warranted. This is the second nerf cast on crit has ever seen. The last league, cast on crit received a 20% crit chance nerf. Now it's going to see a buffer between how fast you can actually proc. Cultifier now has a mana cost multiplier of 110%, up from 100%. Curse on hit now starts with a minus 50% curse duration instead of 10% curse effect, or minus 10% curse effect. It gains 2% curse duration per gem level, up to 12% reduced curse duration at gem level 20. Its quality remains the same. So this is going to affect mainly with the longer boss fights. As long as you're moving fast with a lot of momentum, Curse on it has been quite a popular choice with Assassin's Mark and Herald of Thunder. Herald of Thunder applying the Assassin's Mark like automation, and then you getting the power charge because it's got a 30 or 40% chance to gain a power charge on kill. So it was a 4-link that was kind of a pseudo power charge on crit. It was very, very nice, but now it's gonna have less of effect on boss fights because the duration is nerfed. Alright, so we have increased critical strike chance. Now starts at 90% critical strike chance, increasing to 147 at gem level 20, and now provides 1% critical strike chance per 1% quality. So crit chance got buffed, and now crit multi is going to get nerfed. Crit multi has been now provides 50% critical strike multiplier, up from 69% at gem level 20. It now provides a 0.5% crit multiplier per 1% quality. So you're going to get 10% and 11% from a 21 or a 2022 or 2023 crit damage gem. So we're going to see an 80% max crit multiplier. That's quite a big nerf compared to live. On live, I believe it's almost double. Let me check really quick. Yeah, so crit multiplier is 155 on live. Crit chance is 125 out of 2020. So it's quite the increase on crit chance and quite the decrease on crit damage. Now, small little discussion about this change. People have been complaining that crit builds are just so much better than non-crit builds. Why even go crit, or why even go non-crit? Now, GGG has done a lot of steps to close the gap as far as nerfing crit builds, nerfing crit multiplier on the tree, nerfing stuff like Adder's Touch, and also buffing non-crit builds by adding Celestial Walker and adding percentage chance to shock, burn, or chill and ignite, freeze and ignite. So those are really nice additions, increases in damage. And then they also added stuff to weapons, specific unique properties, either on kill or low life, or even a prerequisite if it's bleeding, you do more damage, and this is like all damage. So Resolute Technique or non-crit based builds saw a buff through either penetration or other status effects, and crit builds got toned down a bit with the multiplier reduction. Alright, passive skill tree balance. We've talked about most of these. The only one that's kind of recent is the mana regeneration from the first witch node got nerfed. It was way too popular, way too much incentive to grab that one node and go up the left side, get that really sweet regen and energy shield. The elemental penetration of Heart of Flame, Heart of Thunder, and Heart of Ice have been reduced. I believe they said they got reduced to 1%, so they lost 2% penetration each. I'm not sure on that one. Many critical multiplier bonuses and some critical chance bonuses have been reduced. Block chance has been reduced throughout the tree. We've known that. Wall of Thorns has been removed. Remove 2 passives from the Ranger's Sword Wheel. Okay, so we've gone over all these. PvP specific balances, we've gone over these in a previous video. Item balance. Alright, so this is the big one right here that I've been wanting to tell you guys, but I have not. Shields have had their base block chances rebalanced. Most of the higher base block chances on shields have been reduced. Other reductions were also performed on unique items and the passive skill tree. This change has been made because reaching the maximum block chance of 75 had become much easier than we intended. It was far too efficient a defense at higher levels. Players will still be able to reach high block chance values, but this will now require much greater investment. All shields have had their block chance reduced. The evasion values of dexterity shields have been reduced. Unique rings, amulets, and belts and quivers no longer lose their minimum level when corrupted. Beyond is now available as a map mod, which can stack with the Zana map device option. Okay, so going back to the shield stuff, Edge Shield has been renamed Edge Kite Shield. I don't know why that's in the item balance, but this is a huge change. Like, people were noticing it on the tree, and now I think we're seeing anywhere between a 3 to 5% overall nerf and block chance on the item, on your shields. So it's not massive, but it's still significant. I think this is a step in the right direction. It definitely makes a lot of the matchups more easier, and making the game a little bit harder is not bad in my opinion. Sometimes I feel like the game is a bit too easy, and this is a step in the right direction in my opinion. Unique item balance. At series acuity, ding 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 ding, why did it take so long? This is what I was saying. The modifier that makes Leech apply instantly on critical strike chance now applies instantly at 60% effectiveness. So I was saying, like, I think it should be 50%. They've came up with 60% effectiveness. Existing versions of this item are affected by this change, so this is retroactive. There is no legacy version. This is a good balance for the game, because this is now going to incentivize people to not go offense by defense so much, to where they can take insane payloads and then heal it back up instantly, with such fast attacks like Spectral Throw with daggers and things like that. So good change. We should see much more interesting fights. It's much more incentive to move out of stuff than face tank it and heal it up. The item is still going to be amazing. It's still going to be the best pair of gloves to get for a crit build, for the majority of crit builds. No doubt about it. You're just not going to be able to heal as much, and since crit multipliers nerfed, your leech is going to be for less. Step in the right direction. I want to see some more interesting PvE fights, interesting PvE boss fights, and nerfing acuity retroactively. I think it was definitely the answer. There's too many out there to not nerf it retroactively, or to leave it legacy. The content will still get destroyed. All these developer designed unique boss fights just getting annihilated because of items that are super broken. But in its current state, it's very rare. It's still going to be top notch. Alright, so Cloak of Defiance, the 10% additional mana absorption has been removed. Big nerf to Cloak of Defiance. They're going to become legacy. This doesn't really matter so much on permanent leagues, because not many people use them. And for new leagues, this is like what I was talking about with the block chance reduction and the block passives being nerfed. People are going to seek out more consistent damage mitigation, either through Might over Matter, which is so easy to get with Cloak of Defiance, but now Cloak of Defiance nerfed. Also, the same chest piece, that's the other category, Lightning Coil, it has also been reduced from 40 to 30. Big time changes. Are they still desirable chests? Yes. Do they sit better with the game? Probably a bit better balance, but now you have an incentive to use a non-lightning coil or a non-mind over matter. Cloak of Defiance is still going to be heavily used. It's just not going to be as good as it once was. Definitely kind of saw that coming. I was under the impression that the developers were not happy with these two chests being so popular, especially in hardcore leagues as primary staples of everybody's build. They're like, oh, which one are you going, Cloak of Defiance or Lightning Coil? But now with the reduction, it's gonna be pretty hard. It's gonna be pretty hard. All right, Marlene's Fallacy. Critical strike chance penalty has been reduced from 60 to 50. Who cares? Lightbane Riment. Who cares? Immortal Flesh. The maximum resistance penalty has been reduced from minus 10% to -5, and the minus 40% elemental resistance penalty has been removed. This was probably one of the uniques that had the harshest penalties. I never understood why it was the way it was. Even -5 max is still a big penalty, but you can still use this in a niche sense, maybe with like a physical based fight like the second boss in its series, the trio, where it's predominantly chaos, physical, and a little bit of added fire damage through the dual striker and the titty bitches. But it's nice to see that you can actually potentially want to use Immortal Flesh in some cases. Maybe even in a PvP swap, it's possible. Essentia Sanguis is a claw. I don't really think that's going to have any effect. They buffed it. Nobody really cares. Hion's Fury, the Frenzy Charge, damage taken penalty has been reduced from 6% to 3%. Definitely warranted. It was such a harsh thing. I mean, even if you were trying to use it with like Flicker Strike, you could easily get so many Frenzy Charges with Blood Rage because you're killing so many mobs with like melee splash. So that would become very problematic with that increased damage, and it was all damage that you're taking. Chaos, elemental, physical, anything. So Oro Sacrifice, the increase to both fire and physical damage taken has been reduced from 20 to 10. Again, I still don't want to use this weapon, but it's a step in the right direction. Rumi's Concoction. This is probably the biggest one. Chance to block during Flask effect has been reduced from 30 to 40 to 20 to 30, so it's a 10% nerf off the top, and the spell block has been nerfed 5% off the top. Pretty huge change. Now I thought, with the block nerf, this item was just gonna skyrocket in value and desire, but now that it's been nerfed, I mean, it's still good, but it's not gonna be like super. And if there's any legacy item that's gonna go skyrocket in price, it's this one. Rumi's Concoction. Spend your divines, get something with a reasonably high roll. Maybe 4 from the top is something I would keep. But yeah, in the future, this thing will go sky high. The Anvil, chance to block has been reduced from 10% to 8%. This one I happen to disagree with the choices in amulets. Anvil is often underused because the amulet in this game does so much for people. It gives you either cast speed, spell damage, crit multiplier, flat fizz, life, leech, resistances, like so many good things that fix your build. Like up to 6% life leech, up to 4% mana leech. Like holy crap. Those are really good mods. And Stone of Last Ward, that's another unique amulet that people use to convert their block chance into spell block to make them very tanky against magic. And then you have Anvil, which has a 20% movement speed penalty, which is brutal enough. And then they nerfed the block chance. I felt like, if anything, they could buff the block chance on this to make more incentives to use this. But we've seen the values increase in the Anvil because block chance has been reduced drastically. So they increased the healing and the mana gain and the block thorns. But I don't really agree with this 10 to 8. I think it should have gone up maybe 2 or up to 15. I don't know. Here's a big one. Bringer of Rain. Chance to block has been reduced 15 to 6. Now this is the big time nerf right here. 9% block chance reduction is huge. They increased the proc chance to 20%, but still, like if there was an Aegis Aurora, viability, this is the one that was gonna take it there. And I felt like Bringer of Rain often limits you on like what auras you can run. Like your gem slots are limited because you don't have that 6-socket chest. You're using a helmet slot in place. You're limited on what tools you have. I think this is a bit harsh. I probably would have left Bringer at 15, maybe take it down to 12. This will be the second time that they've changed it. So this will be the third version of Bringer. So there's two different kinds of legacies now. Ungol's Gouge. Chance to block has been reduced from 20 to 12. This was arguably one of the best things that you could have for dual wielding, and one of the best things you could have for so cheap as a LLDer. Very, very popular item, and it was getting to the point where you could have more block chance with Ungol's and that you could ever get with like a shield, and that doesn't really make sense. They want the block to be good but not better than a shield. It doesn't really fit in the action RPG sense. Wings of Entropy, chance to block has been reduced from 15 to 8. Honestly, like with the dual wield block nerf, now this could become like a paperweight. This could be something that you use to like level 70 and then you replace it or spec into something else. But I'm really disappointed in this change. The dual wield nerfs on the tree were harsh enough. This just got the heavy nerf bat. I might even consider vendoring the new ones that I find, but we'll see. Xanathos, Cassock, nobody really cares. Alright, so race balance. Descent bosses have been rebalanced and have their experience rewards increased. Nice. Static Strike have been added to the Endless Ledge and both Descent race types. Very nice to have Static Strike, a new skill. However, I don't think it's going to be a skill of choice because of the nature of the discharge, the delay, and requiring you to stay still to often hit. Lightning Tendrils has been added to Descent Champions skill for Shadow, Witch, and Templar. This is nice. Hopefully you get it off the bat. Lightning Tendrils is pretty awesome. Raise Zombie has been replaced with Lightning Tendrils in Descent for the Witch. Descent Champions unique Bloods of Summer has been rebalanced to have less movement speed per frenzy charge, no area damage increase, but have higher added physical damage. So this was like some of the run and gun fun that I was having in Descent Champions with the Flame Blast. I don't know if I'm going to stick with Flame Blast, but we'll try it out. Definitely it was kind of OP. I'm excited to try the new Descent Champions and start out with Static Shock. It's a bit faster at the beginning, but not as fast with the dual daggers OP-ness. Alright, and the rest are just bug fixes. This has been a long read. Thank you guys for sticking around and tuning in and hearing my thoughts. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to catch me live when I stream or post them on the YouTube. I'll do my best in replying at both. And if you guys enjoyed this video and would like to hear more, feel free to hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out, guys.